Well, hello and welcome back to the Tao Manifesting Tarot. This is the penultimate tarot podcast on the internet. I've done tarot for over 20 years. I have never experienced a tarot podcast like this anywhere, not even prior to the internet. Yeah, I was around before the internet, long before. I'm an old guy. But in the 20 plus years that I've done tarot, I've come to the understanding that tarot does not predict anything. Never has, never was intended to, never will. What it's intended to do is something entirely different, to help you manifest. Tarot is the science of potential, your potential. You do a read, and then you apply that energy to your life. Everybody's life is different, doesn't apply the same to everybody. Here's where it gets a little bit tricky, however. Tarot, being the science of potential, talks about frequency. And so you want a good, clear frequency at the end of the reading. This reading runs about 15 minutes. And by the end of that 15 minutes, you not only have a clear frequency, you know exactly what the message is, but you also get a little bit of background, which is important in terms of knowing how to apply the frequency. Now, with that in mind, my chief goal is obviously to help you manifest. But I do that with a very simple, plain, boring reading. You don't get dancing men or women across the screen. You don't get all kinds of special effects. You're not going to see me. I'm an old man. I'm not attractive. There's nothing there for you. What is here for you is the reading. That's why you see 4 tarot cards on your screen. 1 card in the middle, that's the oracle card, sets the mood for the reading. I don't need a lot of cards. The more cards a reader puts out, the less they know what the hell they're doing, as far as I'm concerned. It jumbles things up. It confuses. As Monty Python, a comedy group from the 60s, early 70s, said in one of their skits, too many tubs of slaw. It's just too much input for you to filter through. This is a very simple read. You're to focus. You can close your eyes and meditate. You go get a cup of coffee or tea or make a sandwich or soup or whatever the hell you want to do, but listen. That's the key. Don't look, listen. Very often, looking at stuff distracts you. Closing your eyes and listening goes right to your spirit. It allows you to create pictures in your mind. That's what you want. It is a more personal kind of reading. So tarot, if it's done properly and within some historical perspective, is a powerful tool for you to manifest. And manifesting, quite honestly, is the kryptonite that you have for the world out there, especially the robots that are coming. Everybody says 5 to 10 years, robots are going to take over every job on the planet. Nobody will have anything to do, which will be devastating because then people have no purpose. Also opens up the door to what people like Bill Gates have said. They want to get rid of 95% of the world's population by 2050. 2040 they would prefer, but 2050. Well, if you have a bunch of people running around with no purpose, no point, no connection, that's pretty easy to do. So the idea here in this reading is to be clear, to be concise, to be precise. We'll give you the frequency, and then you apply it to your life. The science of potential. Now, I will also refer back to numerology and astrology, and the reason is those things are the science of cycles. They predict, but in a general sense, and I say general sense because In my 50 years of doing numerology and astrology, I have never or rarely seen them predict with specificity. Because there's just too much information. Way too much information. And the astrologers, myself included, just throw shit at you. Here's this, a conjunction, an inconjunct, and we're going to go square, and we got this house moving, and we got the eclipses, and we got and at the end, you're going, what in the hell are you talking about? What am I supposed to do? Well, what you're supposed to do is pick that one thing in the reading that resonated with you, leave all the rest of it behind, and think that they know what the hell they're doing. It's basically an exercise in ego. I want to show you how smart I am. Well, I realized a few years back, for the person I'm doing the reading for, it's bullshit. Doesn't help them out at all. This is supposed to inspire you, encourage you, motivate you. I'm throwing so much information at you, you're overloaded. And you know how that feels, because that's what we have today. Commercials on the internet all the time, information contradictory all the time, just stuff coming at you all the time. You never get a break all the time. It's too much. Well, it's the same thing with a reading. Astrology, numerology, they don't have the focus. I will go to the astrology, numerology, but in a general sense. And I use this all the time because it's coming up. About 250 years ago, the planet or planets, Pluto and Uranus, were in exactly the same spots as they are right now. Give or take a degree, okay? Well, what happened back 250 years ago was we had the American Revolution. Pluto is evolution. Uranus is revolution. And so what we had was that situation. You come up 250 years, Pluto and Uranus are in exactly the same spot. It took 250 years to get there, but they got there. Next summer, July the 4th, 2026, we have our 250th anniversary as a nation. And look where we are. We are essentially in the same energy, expressed differently, but in the same energy as we were in 1776. Not only that, but the whole world is. Amazing. And with the way the planets, especially the farther planets, are placed, man, we're going to come up with revelations almost weekly. Things that will shock the shit out of you that you didn't know. And they will have a profound effect. We are in a period of evolution, revolution. You can't escape it. What you have to do is focus. And the way you do that is to manifest. So let's begin. We got the 5 cards. The one in the middle is the Oracle card. It says time to go. Or as they used to say in the days of the factory, time to clock out. Punch out. Go. Leave for the day. You're done. Time to go. The number up in the upper right hand corner is 45. 4 is stability, 5 is change. That sounds contradictory. It's not. Because you add the 4 and 5 together, that's 9. That's an ending. Time to go. Time to clock out. The way you have lived your life, the values you have had, don't work anymore. You were sold a lie. They lied to you and me every step of the way about everything. You know that now. Whether you admit that now is an entirely different situation, hence tarot, the science of potential. You can run away like a coward. You're going to get double hit. You're going to get double punched. We are in the age of revolution and evolution. Pluto, Uranus. And added to that is the fact that the other far planets are in very complementary signs. You got Pluto in Aquarius, which talks about the future. You got Uranus and Saturn in Aries. That's a tough combination because Neptune is fog, Saturn is restriction, constriction. You can't constrict fog. So you see a lot of the information coming out in the news these days puts you in a fog. Like, so what the hell am I supposed to do with this? What does it mean? And we also have Uranus in Gemini, communication, new information. So you put those things together, they're in a friendly aspect to one another. We're going to be buried, and change is inevitable. The question is, are you going to manifest to help shape your future? And not just for you, but for your children, grandchildren, whatever. You owe them something. And if you think you don't owe them anything, this reading is not for you. One of the key points of this reading every time is responsibility, responsibility, responsibility. You just don't go willy-nilly wherever you want, do whatever you want, and to hell with everybody else. So going back to the Oracle card, time to go. Clock out. Your day is done. Punch out. Leave. Quit doing what you're doing. Quit thinking the way you think. Quit being the way you are. There are improvements all along the way. Here's the meme for today. Fits right in. The most gangster thing I've ever done was to get sober, to take accountability for my actions, and to become willing to change my life. Personal responsibility. Something that has been left out of polite discussion for several years, maybe decades. No, don't say something that's going to offend them. Who gives a shit? If it's true, it's true, it's true, it's true. White is white, black is black, sunny is sunny, warm is warm, hot is hot, cold is cold. It's a fact. So the most gangster thing I've ever done was to get sober, take accountability for my actions, and be willing to change my life. There you go. Clock out from what you've been doing. Clock out from that mindset. Move on. Interesting that today, as I'm doing this reading, we hear about Pope Francis passing away. We knew that it was inevitable because everybody dies, but he's been very, very sick for quite some time. And so now Rome has to figure out, or the Vatican, same difference, who will be the next pope. This gets real interesting because I've been aware of this idea for 10, 15, maybe 20 years. Kind of interesting. In the 13th century, the Archbishop of Armagh, that's an Irish monk named Malachi to us, Malachi, allegedly received a mystical vision. In it, he saw the future popes of Rome, beginning with Celestine II. That was the pope when Malachi was the archbishop in Ireland. Celestine II. And the vision said that everything would come to an end with the last one, the last pope. In total, he was talking about 112 popes, counting from Celestine II. And this was in the 13th century. Now, the last on the list bears the name Petrus Romanus. That's Peter the Roman. Pope Francis was a South American. He was not a Roman. He was the first non-European pope in over 1,300 years. Looks like they may go back to a European pope again, maybe even an Italian, maybe even a Roman, because the last name on Malachi's list is Petrus Romanus, and it precisely talks about this prophetic pope. In fact, in Malachi's vision, he says, in the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church, there will reign Peter the Pope, who will feed his flock, and many tribulations will come. The city on 7 hills will be destroyed. A dreadful judge will judge the people. By the way, the 900-year-old document was found relatively recently in the Vatican archives, and according to the ancient prophecy of popes by this Archbishop Malachi, the end of the world may come as soon as 2027. So there is one more pope to come, and it will be Petrus Romanus. Interesting to see who they pick. Clock out. Time to move on. Let's take a look at the reading. We go all the way to the left. We see the 9 of Cups. 9 of Cups. Cups are things that we're emotionally connected to, attached to. They are essential to our emotional stability and well-being. The 9 of Cups says, I see where I want to go. I see where I want to go. I'm not there, but I can at least now envision, I can imagine, I can manifest. Next card over is the Queen of Pentacles. Now it's in reverse, so that being the case, it means this is what you're working toward, a new set of values, because that's what Pentacles are all about. I know traditional tarot readers go money, 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 things, but it's that mentality that has put us into this garbage pit that we live in. You think that having a bigger house, having more cars, having more debt, having more money is going to make a difference? That's the problem. It has taken us nowhere. So you have to be willing to clock out. You have to be saying to yourself, it's time to go. This way of living can no longer happen. I don't want to tear myself down. I don't want to take stuff away from me, but I want to focus on the stuff that matters. Love, friendship, health, happiness. How about peace? Would you like some peace in your life? Well, you can't buy it. Next card over is the Knight of Swords. Swords are thoughts, ideas, philosophies, beliefs. The Knight of Swords is incisive, intelligent, acts with certainty. That's where you're getting to. You can sense where you want to go. And the Queen of Pentacles says, think about where you want to go. Make your goals, change your value system. And then you get the Knight of Swords. You get some inspiration. Something comes up. Could be in the news, could be in your life, meeting somebody, whatever the hell it is. Something will be conveyed to you very clearly that will give you some backbone. Because that's what the Knight of Swords is. It's acting with certainty. And the final card, my favorite card in the tarot, is the Fool. He's no fool. He's living spiritually. He has the faith. He's keeping the faith. You notice on the card, he's got very little with him. He's got a little knapsack holding a flower, got his dog alongside, and he's got a positive attitude. Positive attitude. He can't see it. He doesn't have it, but he feels it. And that's all he needs. It's an act of faith. Easy to say, hard to do. But that's what I mean by time to go. Like they say on the job, clock out, go home. Find home for you. Find out what is home for you. Because you haven't been, quote unquote, home in a long time. And maybe the passing of Francis on to maybe Peter the Roman, maybe that will light the way for you and for many others. Remember, tarot is the science of potential. Manifest. That's the kryptonite that you need. Clock out. That's the reading for today. Back again tomorrow with another Tao Manifested reading. Please like, subscribe, and share. Very, very, very important to help the stuff with the internet and all that kind of thing. Algorithms, numbers, We're not people. We're just data anymore. In any event, between now and the next time you and I do tarot together, peace and blessings.